The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark.
The very Steve that went to go watch Imprint Curry do his entire sitcom and afterward. Took all that Imprint Curry had, now Steve got a sitcom where he the head, and he wear a suit, and afterward he gets this high top blur making all people of color think he got the best setup in the business. And it's a man unit, Steven's unashamed for what his identity is. Definitely I'm proud. In regards to how I was clutch your seats, since Feline Williams just released a nuclear storm on everybody, particularly focusing on the unrivaled Steve Harvey. He's not keeping down, dropping verbal bombs left and right. The Hollywood scene is ablaze with dramatization, and it's all spinning around the conflict between Samuel L. Jackson and Steve Harvey. You'd expect these heavyweights would be best mates. Right off base, there's a propensity of serious strain blending between them. The unavoidable issue reverberating through the Hollywood slopes is, what in the world is Steve Harvey concealing that is prepared? Samuel Jackson, to thunder it, resembles Steve Harvey telling individuals he used to be destitute. That is my story. That is not his story. Steve Harvey was never destitute. When he Imprint Curry was visiting with him quite a while back, he was making $3,000 a show in real money. As per Feline Steve could have been tossing some subtle shade on Bernie's way, guaranteeing he merited a greater piece of the spotlight. Presently enters Samuel L. Jackson, the man known for his executioner jokes. This time, however, he's putting on his serious face. Word on the Hollywood road is that there may be a few secret skeletons hanging in Steve's storeroom, and Samuel is tingling to turn on the spotlight. Yet Steve Harvey isn't one to trifle with conceal, assuming that Samuel spills those beans. Prepare for a Hollywood standoff that may very well break the web. Samuel is by all accounts distrustful about the Steve Harvey engage both on and off the stage, while we've gotten looks at Jackson's sentiments throughout the long-term. Things as of late warmed up whenever he spilled the tea about an opportunity experience with Harvey several years back. Recollect those viral pics of Jackson and his young lady hanging with Harvey and his accomplice at that boogie getaway destination. Unexpected development. Samuel spilled the tea, uncovering that the yacht scene was absolutely spontaneous. Harvey, I hear you all take travels together on the yacht or something. Will we get on the boat with wizardry and treat Steve and Blemish have their own boat yet? For what reason isn't Samuel flowing with Steve? Well, it appears to be their dynamic could follow back to Jackson's security with Bernie Mac. And think about who was Bernie's partner. You got it, Steve Harvey, once upon a time when they were essential for a similar parody group. Harvey purportedly attempted to put Bernie uninvolved, starting a quarrel that had genuine results. Streak back to the mid-2000s when Harvey, close by, D.L. Hughley Cedric, the performer, and Bernie Mac framed the fantasy group of satire known as the First Rulers of Satire. They hit the road, crushed records, and made bank. Yet reports propose that Harvey could have been a bit desirous of Bernie's one-of-a-kind energy. Their fight wasn't simply behind the stage tattle, it had genuine impacts in any event. Putting an end to the Rulers of Satire team going on another visit. Quick forward to 2003, Bernie Mac spilled some reality bombs in a meeting with GQ magazine, guaranteeing that Harvey was straight up envious and attempted to screw with his film gigs. Steve, heard by Bernie's words, focused on it in a 2010 meeting, yet fans weren't totally purchasing Steve's side of the story. Consider Samuel L. Jackson's type security with Bernie, and it's unmistakable why Jackson probably won't send Steve any seasonal happiness. These folks weren't buddies. They were basically family in the business. They shared the stage, and their security ran profound, particularly during the shooting of Soul Men, where they played characters on a wild excursion to respect their late front man. So when Bernie Mac died, Samuel L. Jackson blew up with Steve Harvey. There are reports with no proof that a few people in Hollywood may be utilizing mixtures to make somebody wiped out with pneumonia-like side effects, prompting their passing to demonstrate that she had been harmed. They have harms that make respiratory failure and pneumonia like side effects. Mind you, Bernie Mac truly kicked the bucket from pneumonia difficulties and death. Despite the fact that there's no proof for this Hollywood elixir stuff, it makes you can't help thinking about why Jackson detests Steve Harvey such a lot. Of now, we should discuss Steve Harvey's cash talk. In a meeting, he nonchalantly referenced making around $10 million per year from radio, calling it a smidge. That's right. You heard that right. $10 million a smidge for him. Steve and Samuel appear to see the world diversely with regards to cash, Yet Steve's life isn't just about the money, it's been a thrill. El Ride of debates past the dollar greenbacks in spite of his public picture as the family man, the amusing person, the enchanting entertainer, and the television have Steve Harvey's own process has been loaded with turns. Allegations have followed him from being labeled as a not exactly heavenly host to claims of abusing his previous spouse and messes with it. Makes you believe, assuming Steve is the family values banner kid. Why has he strolled down the path on various occasions as of late? A dissident T named S.E. Berry dropped a few sensation allegations about Steve Harvey, and it appears to be these words could have scratched his clean as a whistle picture past the sea. Steve Harvey has vanquished Hollywood as an entertainer maker, and essayist, yet his move to progress wasn't all going great. Consider his second marriage with Mary Shackelford an all-out exciting ride. They had a child named Winton. Yet their romantic tale come upon a tough situation in 2005, prompting an untidy separation. Mary did keep down on how rapidly Steve continued on toward his momentum. Wife Marjorie Harvey Post, separate from Mary, affirmed that Steve went behind her back with Marjorie, and keeping in mind that Steve denied it, as she expressed stronger than words, Steve did, without a doubt, wooed Marjorie not long after. The split causing a commotion and giving trustworthiness to those duping reports. The dramatization didn't stop there. Mary blamed Steve for exploring every available opportunity as well as of abusing the child. As per Mary, she found her child with what resembled wounds all over. Subsequent to being away a couple of days post separate from, she made a legitimate move against Steve, hitting him with an incredible $60 million claim, including charges like kid risk abuse scheme and deliberate punishment of profound trouble. While Steve figured out how to get a directive against her, the court hit Mary with a gag request, causing a stir about the requirement for mystery. Steve Harvey isn't up to speed in show. With Mary, he's additionally blending the pot in the satire world. Comic imprint Curry has blamed Steve for catching his material for jokes on his shows, creating all in all a ruckus in the parody scene. This is certainly not another hamburger, as Marcus tossed conceal about Steve swipe his jokes way back on Harvey's NBC syndicated program, Nothing Me. Steve took my material on his show, so I had a meat on. There's even an energy in the satire world that Steve will in general get all in all too liberally. From his kindred wisecrackers, gossip recommends that Samuel L. Jackson probably won't be Steve's most die-hard follower halfway due to these supposed joke borrowings, and here's the Wind imprint claims he previously stood up to Steve about it. Yet the supposed joke grabbing continued to occur as per. Mark, Steve took his material on his show, making a digit of pressure. He even referenced a Halloween episode where Steve evidently stamps entire Halloween routine. Imprint communicated his disappointment, expressing that Steve had brought in sufficient cash and addressed why he would utilize another person's material. Well, things got extreme among Steve and Imprint. Steve absolutely denied Imprint's cases, provoking him to name the apparently taken jokes he didn't keep down, advising Imprint to find a hobby and a vocation. Steve went on a tirade swearing that he hadn't taken a joke in 35 years yet. Here's the kicker: Imprint wasn't feigning, he came ready with proof to back up his cases, turning up the mood swiping show thoughts. Feline spilled the tea on their years-long meet, recommending that Steve was envious of Bernie Mac attempting to meddle with his film jobs and making significant strain as